Hello and welcome to HighLevel Techie. This is Jitin here, and today we are going to talk about outbound voice AI call. So here, when you're building an agent, under agent details, you will see two tabs. One is for inbound call and the other one is for outbound call. And in order to start using outbound call, you have to first enable it. So if you are on an account where this outbound call is not enabled, you will see a button like this where it will tell you to enable outbound calls. So in that case, you have to click this first. Then it will tell you to agree to certain terms and conditions. And you click here to agree to the terms and conditions. If you want to read through it, you can open this up and then read through it. So if you are going to use outbound calls, compliance is a word that would come up multiple times. And the reason is that HighLevel wants to be super compliant when it comes to automated outbound voice AI calls. So if you read through this, you will understand that there are so many additional guidelines that you have to follow. You can only make one call per minute per location, and you can only make 100 calls in a day, and you can only call one person or one number once a day, and you can only call one person maximum of 4 times in 2 weeks, and you can only call between 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. of the contact's local time. And more importantly, all the contacts must be opted in explicitly inside HighLevel through HighLevel forms or Facebook lead form that are already verified and compliant through HighLevel's internal verification. And as of now, you can only make calls to United States numbers. You cannot make outbound calls to any other countries as of now. So that is also something you need to keep it in your mind when you are getting started with outbound calls. So now, if you agree to all of this, you click accept. Of course, you don't have any other choice. And once you accept this, you will have a window like this. This is where you have to verify yourself. And you can click here to begin verification, and you can select the country. And once you select that country, you click select, and then it will ask you to upload your passport or driver's license or similar. So as soon as you upload the driver's license or passport, then it will ask you to take a selfie. And once you confirm your identity, this sub account will have outbound call enabled. So I have already done this, so I'm not going to do this again. So I'm going to close this out, and I'm going to go back to my other account. And here you can see this is already been enabled, and now we can start using outbound calls. So one of the questions people always ask is that, do I need a separate agent for inbound call and one for outbound call? You don't really need to have two different agents, but usually you do. So most of the time, the conversations, the structure, the goal of these agents can be really different. So for example, an inbound agent is mainly used as a receptionist to answer any incoming calls, but an outbound agent is created to reach out to people or to remind them or to sell something, right? So you can see here the goals of each of these agents are completely different, and the way they speak or the structure of the whole conversation would be different. So that is why ideally you would create a different agent for each of these purposes. So if you are thinking, do I need a different agent for inbound and outbound calls? The short answer is yes, you would ideally need two different agents for these two functions. So now let's talk about outbound call. So let's click on outbound call here, and then you will see the agent's initial message. This is pretty similar to what you saw on inbound call, but in here the agent would be introducing himself or herself and the purpose of the call. So the sentence could be slightly different compared to what you have on the inbound call. That is about agent's initial message, and here they are written agent's intent message. If that is not a typo, then for outbound call you have to specify the intent or why you are calling. So that is going to be your first message spoken by your agent. And in this message, you can use all the personalization that you can use by going into this merge field values. You can go in here, use the first name. You can use the voice AI personalization technique that we learned in one of the previous videos. We can use that as well as your initial message. And by using that, you can actually get rid of this 190 character limitation as well. So all of this can be used inside agent's intent message or the first message spoken by your outbound agent. But the main difference is that this initial message will be spoken only after the AI disclaimer. So I told you at the beginning, HighLevel is very strict with compliance when it comes to outbound calls. Your agent has to speak an AI disclaimer even before the initial message. So if you click here on disclaimer style and options, you can pick some options. So what you see here is the live preview of the combined initial message. So here first AI disclaimer is spoken, right after that your initial message or your greetings is spoken. So if you select concise disclaimer style, the whole message would be, hi, first name, this is HighLevel Techie's AI assistant. You can say don't call me again to opt out, and then it will tell you, hi, first name, this is the message, right? So that is how this would work. But if you want the standard one, slightly longer one, you select that, and then it would say these things, hi, contact name, this is agent so and so, I'm an AI assistant with HighLevel Techie. If you prefer not to receive calls, just say don't call me again to opt out. So that is standard version, and if you want a conversational version, you select that, and it's slightly longer than that, right? And now if you want to write your own, you select this and type your own disclaimer here, but following something very similar. And once you write this down, you cannot use it straight away. You have to verify this disclaimer before you can use it. So you cannot really bypass this disclaimer. So you can pick either one of these or write your own. But if you're writing your own, you have to verify before using it. So that's all about the disclaimer. So once you have this disclaimer in place, let's look at the opt-out mechanism, which is also very important for your compliance. So if you click here, you can see in-call verbal opt-out. So this is done by the agent automatically. You don't really have to set up anything. It is very similar to the SMS. So if someone is sending stop as an SMS, so that keyword stop would put that contact into DND by default. It is very similar to that. If someone is going to say stop or remove me from the call or don't call me again or something similar, then the consent flag will be set to DND and you will not be able to make an automated outbound call to that contact anymore. And then there are a few additional opt-out options which are coming soon. You can press a key and opt out. For example, press 9 to opt out, something similar. And you can also send an SMS after the call to opt out. These two are coming soon, and this will be enabled by default when they are out. So these are the opt-out mechanisms. So I would say this is the main difference between inbound and outbound call. You have to set up your initial message, then you have to set up your disclaimer. Once you have those ready, you can test it out. So here you can now test out from here itself. You can click here to start a web call and you can try out how the outbound call works. So let me quickly change my intent message here. So let's say we are creating an appointment follow-up outbound call agent. So I'm just gonna say that, hey, I'm calling from HighLevel Techie regarding your appointment, and I'm gonna click save. And if you go here, inbound call, initial message is, hey, what can I do for you? And outbound call is, I'm calling to update you regarding this. So let's select outbound call here and click start web call.
Hi, Jithan. This is HighLevel Techie's AI assistant. You can say, don't call me again to opt out. Hey, I am calling from HighLevel Techie regarding your appointment.
Hey, what's up?
Hey there. Not much. Just here to help you out. What's on your mind today?
Right, so you can see that this is all happening. So can you book an appointment?
Sure thing. Let me check the available slots for you. One moment. Here are the available slots for appointments. On Wednesday, the 11th of...
All right. So you saw that the initial message is different, and then the AI agent picks up on the agent goals that we have and all the prompts that we have. So it's pretty similar. So the main difference is that how this AI agent is triggered and the initial messages, right? So now let's go and see how you can automate an outbound voice call. So for that, you have to go into an automation. So I'm going to click here to create an automation, and I'm going to create a new automation from scratch. And in here, I can use any triggers. It could be tag added, it could be appointment booked, and so on. So I can pick the required trigger depending on my requirement. But the action would be, you go here and you search for outbound call, and you will find this action. You select that action, and in here all you have to do is pick the AI agent, and here I'm going to select my agent 504. This is the agent that we were testing out, and then you have to pick a phone number as well, and this is the phone number that will be used to make this call. So here, as soon as I select the phone number and select the AI agent, I can start making outbound calls if all these guidelines are met. And here you can see that the number of calls per day has moved from 100 to 1000 calls per day per location. So things are moving really fast in HighLevel. Earlier I was telling you it's only 100 calls a day, but I think now they have changed that to 1000 calls per day. That is great. And you can do 10 calls per minute, and you can only call between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. the contact's local time, and each phone number will be reached once per day. And if more people are added into the workflow, they will be added into the queue, and next day at 8 a.m. that call will resume. So that is how it would work. And then only contacts who have opted in, have DND off, and have a domestic number will be called. So these are the requirements to make that outbound call. So now I'm going to select a phone number here, and I'm going to click save. So my outbound call action is ready. Now I'm going to tell you how you can set up a trigger. So if you are going to call someone right before their appointment, your trigger would be appointment confirmed. Appointment status is, let's say, appointment status is confirmed, right? And then I'm going to wait. I'm going to add a wait step here, and this wait would be based on the event appointment. And before, I can call them 5 minutes before the call and ask them to be prepared for the meeting. So that is how you can set up an appointment reminder follow-up using the Outbound AI agent. And now, for example, you want to run a database reactivation campaign. In that case, what you can do is delete all this, and then you can select a tag. And when contact tag is added, let's say advanced voice AI training is paid. So if that tag is added to someone, and then this AI agent would make that call if that contact added into this workflow follows all these outbound call guidelines. So now let's go and talk about the opting in part of a contact. So if you want to be compliant with your outbound calls, all the contacts that you have collected must explicitly agree to the consent terms through the forms, surveys, or appointments that you are collecting. So in order for HighLevel's internal systems to understand that this contact has actually opted in, you have to update the disclosure settings. And in order to do that, you go under Voice AI section and then find Update Disclosure and click on that. And then you will see a window like this. And this is where you can update the consent requirement. So the consent language that you're using on the forms or surveys and so on should have all these requirements. So these are the things that should be part of your consent language. First one, a clear statement that the user agrees to receive both text message and phone calls. And the second one is a disclosure that calls may be automated, pre-recorded, or use an AI voice. And the third one is a statement that the user agrees to receive marketing communication from your business. And the fourth one is information on how the user can opt out of future messages. So if your consent language has at least all these four items, your opt-in method is considered to be compliant. So now we have to craft that consent language, and it has to pass the compatibility test. So on this window, this is where you would type in your consent language. You can also use the last used consent language by clicking here, or you can also use AI to write this. So you can see here my last used consent language, and then you can change out a few things. And once you create your final consent language, you click here to check compatibility, and you will see that this compatibility check has been passed because of the language that has been used inside this consent. But again, be careful to update the actual message with the actual values. Once this is done, you can now pick where you want to include these message. So that is when you click on the step 2, and then you can see all the forms that you have in your account. You can also see all the surveys and appointments, chat widget, and so on. You can either handpick these forms, or you can select all channels. Then all the channels that you see here will be selected. And once you click update consent, it will automatically go into those forms or calendars or surveys and update the terms and condition field on that form. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick one form from this list. So I'm going to select course review form, and I can go here, and you can see I already have a consent, but I can now click to update this consent, and it is going to update that particular form with the consent language I have selected in step 1. And once that is done, I can see that I have total 17 assets. Out of the 17 assets, which can be the forms, surveys, the calendar form, the chat widget, and so on. Out of that, six of them are compliant and 11 of them are non-compliant, and 4 updates have been failed for various reasons. And now I can go into the form that I want to and check if the compliant language has been updated. If it is updated, anyone coming through that form will be eligible to get an outbound call. So let's go to this course review form that I have, and let's look at the compliant language. So you can see at the bottom, you will see that I have a new compliant language added, and by providing your phone number, you agree to receive text message and phone call from HighLevel Techie, including automated pre-recorded or AI generated call. So you can see that this consent language contains all the items listed in the requirement. So anyone who is filling out this form and check this box will be giving me an explicit consent to be contacted through AI calls or otherwise. So now I can safely add anyone who is coming through this form into my outbound call automation. So this is how you can use compliant opt-in mechanism and run your outbound calls without any issue. And once you start making these calls, you can come into your voice AI tab and then click on outbound, and then you can see all the statistics for your calls. You can also see the live calls as well as the test calls if you have done, and you can see I have done few test calls here, and you can see all those data on this dashboard. So that is pretty much everything that I can tell you about outbound call as of now. Since I'm based in Australia, I can't really make an outbound call to test it out at this moment because I'm outside the 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. window. So I can't really show you a demo of outbound call, but it is going to be pretty similar to an inbound call, except that you can use all the collected data of a contact in your messages, in your prompt, and you can make it so much personalized when you are making your call. So that is all about outbound call. So if you have any questions, please let me know. I will see you in the next one. Until then, bye.